heads, this is Jazz bringing you a countdown video, yes. Something got me inspired to do this list. This list is about things in video games that either almost made me quit or actually did. And I was just playing a game recently that made me inspired for this list to think about other things in other video games that made me feel this way. Now, it is going to be the top 5 things in video games that frustrated me, right, or peed me off to the max. Now, there really isn't many rules for this list because there actually haven't been many video games that I've played that made me actually want to quit or that close to quitting, so I am going to allow more than one entry per video game, and there is going to be a lot of cases of that. So it actually is there's only 3 video games that actually got me to this point, so it's going to be in the order of the least frustrating to the frustrating. Now let's go on to number 5. I hate you. Number 5 are the farting tutorials from SelfPark, The Stick of Truth. Hey guys, remember that part when I was recording that Let's Play for SelfPark, The Stick of Truth, and how I always failed at it, and I was just so frustrated and not looking forward to each time I had to do it? This is the lowest on the list, or highest, whatever you want to go with, the least frustrating on the list. The reason for it is that this was mostly my fault, and once I actually used the actual mouse, it was a lot more tolerable, but at a time, I almost thought the LP was done because of this moment. But it all in all did not ruin the way I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed it too much to let this bother me. So, and as I said, it was partially my fault for not quite doing it right or understanding it right. So there's not much about it. The only thing that made it really frustrating was each time Cartman had to talk through how to do it. And that was a tad annoying. But I'm at the point where I laugh about it now. So, the farting tutorials in SelfPark, The Stick of Truth are number 5 on this list. Now on to number 4. I hate you. Number 4 on this list is avoiding Charles, Nancy, Terrence, Susan, and Will on your way to the secret chamber in Lucius. Oh, shoot. Yes, there would be a point I had this lower on the list, but after seeing through my choices, this was actually easy. It was sort of my fault here, too. I was going too slow. At one point, I was so frustrated at this part because I didn't think I'd ever get through it. No matter what, there would be someone there to catch me with their flashlight, and then I'd have so long to erase their memory. If it was either Terrence, Will, or Susan, I think with Charles or Nancy, you'd be sent right back to your room. I think that's what I was warned about. So at first I was flabbergasted with this part of the game. Did I know there'd be a worse moment? But that will come later. I actually can laugh at this level or this part now. Like at one point I said, well, everything else is so easy, and then it jumps to this. Yeah, again, boy was I wrong. But as I said, at a time it frustrated me, almost made me want to quit for sure. But now that I've done it, it just doesn't seem as bad at looking at the rest of the things on my list. So avoiding the adults on the way to your grandpa's secret chamber from Lucius is number 4 on this list. Now on to number 3. I hate you. Number 3 on this list is the Nightmare Maze in Life is Strange. This is the part of this nightmare in the last little bit that you have to go to the lighthouse. It's near the end of the nightmare scenario. And I, for a while, was frustrated out of my mind. And flustered too, and flabbergasted, whatever word you can use. Every time I think I would be okay, I'd be caught by the villain of the game, plus the other characters you've met. Like, I think it's like the first part that's the worst of the maze, so that's particularly what I mean. But even after you get past the first part, you have to be careful, right? It became, the only reason that it's lower on the list is that I realized that there was a part I could have skipped altogether, which again was my fault. Some of these things, yes, it turns out are my fault, but everyone accepts challenges and everyone can complete challenges differently. And for me, I'm just saying for me, what is my most frustrating parts. Doesn't mean to you these things might be easy or even like a joke. But at one point I thought, oh god, I didn't even record the whole maze because how frustrated I got. You're probably thinking, why isn't it higher on the list? Well, there have been a few other times that were worse than this. Yes, worse. That I almost thought I would quit. But I had a lot more will because I was that close to finishing this Let's Play. And I completed it. Thank God. And as there's one other time that is 10 times worse than this. But as I said, I was just disoriented or something. It was a maze, literally a maze, so I didn't know which way to go. And there were certain things blocked off in the first part of the dungeon or the maze. And I had to watch out for the person going after me. Well, okay, we'll say Mr. Jefferson, spoilers. And I also didn't realize there were 3 of him on the first part, so once I figured that out, it wasn't as bad. But yeah, this is still very close to one of the worst times I've had in a video game, but not quite there. So, the Nightmare Maze scene with Mr. Jefferson is from Life is Strange, is number 3 on this list, now on to number 2. I hate you. Number 2 on this list is the whole goth rhythm dance thing from SelfPark, The Stick of Truth. Now, this is the first repeat game of 2 that are going to be on this list. I was thinking hard how frustrated I was. Was I frustrated with this? Yeah. I hate rhythm games, guys. My fine motor skills, as I said, this could be easy to some people, and that is fine. They have their challenges, I have mine. But for me, it was almost impossible. I literally thought that was the end of the Let's Play. I mean, this was one time I really thought, I even said it in one of my videos, that I thought this was going to be the end. And I kept going and I kept failing. I didn't know what I was doing. And again, it's probably some of my fault, but I just couldn't, at one point I just couldn't handle it. Once I figured it out, I was chewing my head off. Like once, I mean, is it any less frustrating? No. Not really. If I were to go play that scene again, I probably would fail it again. Like, it took a lot of time of just looking at the screen and keep doing it. And now that I've never played it for a while, it would probably be just as bad. Like, I've never been good at rhythm games. That's why I try to avoid them. Because, like, my brain doesn't seem to sync with my hands. My hands don't seem to work properly. And it was so ridiculous that just came out of nowhere. Thank God there is, like, I never fully played the SelfPark, The Fractured Butthole. I played quite a bit of it, actually, though. And so far, there's only one thing in that game that might frustrate me. And that is near the very end, which is also sort of bad if I had done a Let's Play on it. But there is nothing as bad as that. Like, with this game, so far, there's been the fart tutorials, and there was this rhythm game that messed me up. At least the Fractured Butthole seems a little more relaxing in comparison. But this scene right here just almost made me quit playing the game. I was so lucky that I didn't, though, because it was a really good game and I enjoyed it. Well, guys, the goth rhythm section of SelfPark SelfPark, the Stick of Truth, are number 2 on this list. Now on to number 1. I hate you. Number 1 on this list is killing Father Miguel and DeCosimo and Lucius. Or fathers. Yes. And it's in the last parts, 18 and 18b2, particularly. Now, one thing about the last chapter, guys, is that when you start the last chapter, you get a choice between an all-out battle with your combustion or a puzzle way. You think one of them would be easier than the other. Yes, they are. It is, but you noticed that when I said 18b2 rather than 18b altogether. Well, the whole part of part 18a is frustrating. What happens is both of the fathers go towards you, and if they get towards you and you run out of power, it's a game over. And if they're too close to you, you don't have enough power to shoot fire at them, which is how you kill them in that part, in that half of it. So imagine though you have they run fast. Like, I think for me, this could be my fault again. This is probably one of my biggest faults, because I have to be able to run, then turn back for I can shoot fire at them, but I cannot. Like, and by the time I get a chance to turn around, they're too close to me. So, the fire, I've tried, trust me, I've been close, I hit them a few times, but not enough to kill them. I've never ever killed them. And in part 18b, the first part of it, 18b is that you do things like telekinesis and mind control and other things. Like, you figure it out rather than just shoot fire at them. It's more puzzle type of way. The first part with Father Miguel is not too bad. You just throw things at him until he gets to the corner, and then you have to be quick enough to control him to stick the cross in him, which I was able to do. But when it comes to DeCosimo, what you have to do is run into a room where it looks like a little symbol, where you'll be able, you can't use your combustion in this path unless you stand in that symbol. But the Father Damasco runs away whenever you get close to him. Unlike in the other one where they can't stay away from you. So, and you got a time limit. That's the thing, you got a time limit, guys. You only have so long until it's game over. So, eat both of them. So imagine he runs away from you, and the thing is, as long as you shoot, if you're able to hit him once with fire, you did it. You completed it. So you think, oh, that's not too bad. Well, by the time you get to the circle and turn around, he's out the door. I have tried and tried and tried. You're probably thinking, well, almost, or, yes, remember how I brought up that, or, either almost or had made me quit? This is the one time this had made me hate a game. Made me quit. I sort of did make a Let's Play on it, but I put in the very end that I could not finish that last part. I told them what would have happened in that last part, for they could just watch other Let's Plays and figure it out for themselves. I made it too far to completely cancel the Let's Play. I put the fighting in it, so they did see some of the battle. The only thing they really missed was the battle with your father, Charlie, and the last ending scene. I've never been so frustrated with a game in my whole entire life. It's sad that 2 of things on this list come from Lucius. The thing is, Lucius has its good moments. There's parts where I genuinely enjoyed. And for something to ruin a game for me like that, it's really, really pathetic. And I'm not saying, I've seen other people Let's Play it and do it with ease. That's what's even more frustrating. Maybe things that require that type of motor skills are not my game, but, like I said, when I went to the whole stealth section, with on your way to the grandfather's chamber, how it went from easy to bad. And I said, well, it gets worse. this is how it got worse. You literally had a relatively okay time. They tell you exactly what to do. You could do it. And the thing is, I honestly don't think that this game was really good for my mental health, obviously, because there was moments in that last scene where I wanted to go through the computer screen and strangle those fathers myself. And guys, please don't take this to heart. I would never hurt anyone in real life, but I could only hear the power of Christ compels you so many times before I would throw the computer across the room. And again, obviously I didn't because I'm still using it. But anyway, guys, it is a normal thing to get frustrated with certain parts of video games to the point of almost ruining you. And it gave me a good experience and a good video to make out of it. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel and you like what you see, please subscribe. It would help me a lot. And I will see you guys in my next video.